Hey there, I'm Katarina, and if you're PCSing to Charleston, welcome. I know it can feel like a lot with a new city, new orders, new housing situation, but I just helped a few military families relocate here recently, so I figured I'd make this video to hopefully make your move a little easier. My husband is a veteran, and while he was never stationed here, I have a special place in my heart for helping military homebuyers, and actually got my military relocation professional designation because of that. Today we're talking about where to live based on BAH, what kind of home you can actually get in this market, and some property tax perks and VA loan tips to help save you money. So let's get into it. First is understanding BAH and what it gets you in Charleston. So BAH is basic housing allowance, and if you're active duty, you already know this is based on your rank and whether you have dependents. For Joint Base Charleston, the BAH rates are based off of the zip code 29404, which is in North Charleston. Here's a quick snapshot of 2025 BAH rates with and without dependents. So in the middle, it's about $2,600 a month with dependents and $2,100 a month without dependents. For more accuracy on your rank and BAH rates, you can check these on defensetravel.dod.mil. So what does that actually mean for buying a home in Charleston? Well, your mortgage payment will change based on how much you're putting down, your interest rate, taxes, and insurance, but one of the many benefits of the VA loan is 0% down. But here are some rough estimates of what purchase price BAH translates to. For $2,400 a month, that roughly translates to a purchase price of $320,000. $2,600 a month will get you about a $340,000 house, and for $2,850 a month, that opens doors to homes around $375,000 and up. This will also change based on your VA loan eligibility, so I always recommend connecting with a VA-approved lender early, just so you know exactly what your monthly payment will be and what your max budget looks like before you find a home that you like. I do have some lenders I can connect you with if that would be helpful, who have done a great job for my past military buyers. Next, let's talk about where to live and what you can get for your money in each area. Joint Base Charleston is located in North Charleston, but your ideal neighborhood really depends on what matters most: commute, school options, house size, and lifestyle. If you want to have a short commute to base and be about 10 to 15 minutes away, North Charleston is the closest option, and honestly, it's a great option because North Charleston is also the most affordable suburb of Charleston and convenient to downtown, the beaches, and other fun things to do in the area. In general, in North Charleston, you'll find a mix of townhomes and single-family homes, and many are under $400,000. Some neighborhoods even have decent amenities like pools, walking trails, or playgrounds. A few popular neighborhoods close to base with price in mind and a decent amount of options are Pepper Hill, Colony North, and Windsor Hill. In North Charleston, Park Circle is a popular place to visit as it has great restaurants, breweries, and a huge new playground, but the sales price is higher there. There are also a lot of retail places to get pretty much anything you could need. That said, North Charleston does have a few drawbacks. Some areas do experience more traffic and airplane noise due to their proximity to the base and airport. I also recommend doing a bit of extra research on public safety data, school ratings, or even joining local Facebook groups to get a feel for the area firsthand. I can't speak to crime rates directly as a realtor, but there are a lot of online resources to check that out. Overall, North Charleston is great for anyone who wants to maximize their BAH, skip the long commute, and still have access to shops, dining, the airport, and being close to fun things to do in Charleston. For the next suburb, if you're okay with a longer commute, typically around 30 to 40 minutes depending on traffic, you'll get significantly more house for your money in Summerville. It's one of the fastest growing areas outside of Charleston and has a mix of established neighborhoods and newer master planned communities. You'll easily find homes in Summerville in the $350,000 to $400,000 range, often with more square footage, newer construction. A few neighborhoods to check out in Summerville are Cane Bay Plantation and Nexton, which are huge master planned communities with great amenities and their own schools, but they are on the farther side of Summerville. A few others in Summerville are Sangaree, Westcott Plantation, White Gables, and Summers Corner. But as you can probably tell, there are a ton of options in this price range. Summerville also has a charming historic district with shops, restaurants, and a small town southern vibe. However, most people will tell you that the traffic congestion is changing that small town feel, and the commute on I-26 can be brutal during rush hours. But in general, it's a great choice if you want a bigger, newer home in a quieter setting and don't mind the commute. You're still close enough for a day trip to the beaches or downtown Charleston, but far enough to enjoy space, affordability, and a slower pace. Next up are Goose Creek and Hanahan. These two towns offer a solid middle ground between location, price, and lifestyle, and are very popular with military families. They're closer to the Naval Weapons Station, if you're getting stationed there, and you can still get to the Air Force Base in about 20 to 30 minutes or less, depending on traffic. One big pro of these areas is that the commutes are often less frustrating than from farther out suburbs like Summerville or Moncks Corner. The drawback is that there's a little less to do in these areas, in my opinion, as far as shopping and dining and fun things to do, but they still have the necessities and are close enough to the other suburbs if you need anything. So that sums up a brief overview of the suburbs worth checking out near base, and if you want home listings in any of the areas or neighborhoods, I'm happy to send those over. Next, let's talk about how you can save with the VA loan and property taxes in South Carolina. So if you're using a VA loan, which most military buyers are, here's a refresher. You get a 0% down payment, no PMI, competitive interest rates, and often lower closing costs. It's a powerful tool, especially in a market like Charleston, where home prices can be high and saving up for a higher down payment isn't always realistic. VA loans do come with a few extra steps in the paperwork process, so it helps when everyone involved is familiar with how they work. Now for the property tax side, South Carolina has some amazing property tax benefits for active duty military. South Carolina offers a reduced 4% tax rate on primary residences compared to the 6% rate for second homes or rentals. Even if your legal residence for the military is in another state, you can still claim the 4% primary residence rate here as long as it's your permanent duty station. You just have to submit a copy of your orders to the local county assessor when you file that 4% exemption. And here's the best part. If you PCS away from Charleston and remain on active duty, you can actually keep that 4% rate, even if you rent the property out. No one else can do this. Normally, if you move away from South Carolina and claim another home as your primary residence, they jump that 4% up to a 6%. So this is an amazing benefit for active duty military. The only pain is you do have to reapply every year and submit updated orders. So they will find out when you're no longer active duty military and it would go to the 6% rate. But having a lower tax bill is great for building passive income and a real estate portfolio if that's something you're interested in. Also, South Carolina does charge annual property taxes on vehicles. But if you're active duty here and your home of record is in another state, you're likely exempt from paying vehicle tax as well. You'll just need to do some paperwork with the DMV, like submitting a current LES and a copy of your military ID. As you can probably tell, South Carolina is a military-friendly state, and there are even more resources to dive into. My husband and I actually did a video on South Carolina for veterans if you wanted to learn a bit more here. So to wrap it all up, Charleston is an amazing place to be stationed. And I didn't even get into all the fun things to do here, like the beaches, downtown, the great food scene, and more. If you're PCSing here and want to get a jump on the home search, I'd love to help. And if you have any general questions on the different areas, VA loans, or any other PCS curveballs, feel free to reach out. Thank you for your service and welcome to Charleston.